What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right. So yesterday in ESO, there was a update for Dragonhold, which on the American servers performed really well. I was quite pleased. I'm, actually ecstatic that everything, panned out pretty well for the American servers when it came to performance issues. Unfortunately, though, we can't say the same for the EU server, as EU servers on the official forum had rest in peace PCEU. And it begs the question, can EU players catch a break? Honestly, and you can go check this out on the official forums. They got kicked. They had login problems, load screens. Gina, did reply that they were aware of it. They're looking into it. And I don't think it's the update, to be honest with you. The update is sound, as far as all the patch notes and everything that went into the game. I actually don't think at this particular moment it's the update as much as it could be the data center itself. So I am going to put it out there that I think the update did its job. I think the update's performance improvements is astounding, especially for the US players due to their data center. But unfortunately, there's multiple components going into any game, and your software is only as good as your hardware. And what your data centers are producing or capable of its infrastructure, you can patch all day long. If the data center's infrastructure is compromised, then no patch is going to save that. So I honestly don't think that the problem lies in the update. So I'm going to tell the community that the devs and whoever worked on the improvements, the game's improvements, did their job. They did their job amazingly. However, if I was ZeniMax, I'd be looking at the data center itself. So, just poor EU players. Don't know what to say. But I'm kind of curious. So I'm going to remove this really quick. And then we're going to get into a little, maybe I'm going to play around with the Stamsork and see what's going on here. But yeah. Poor EU players, man. I was just like, oh, snap. Now, there's a lot of things. I got to play around with it a little bit yesterday, which honestly, I've been debating about certain things, certain skills, and what to do. I'm actually thinking. Typically I wouldn't even be grabbing this skill, but honestly, I think it's just going to be the damage here is really good for the slot, but I'm debated. We'll look into it. Maybe use Unstoppable here. There's been a couple of issues when it came. Tanking's got a whole new level of craziness. Ooh. That might be a hindrance big time. 65%. Oof. Ugh. Yeah. Oof. That is definitely it's noticeable. It is noticeable. So I never thought I'd be back in here. The performance really impressed me yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty impressed with the performance currently with ESO. Now, is it going to resolve a lot of the underlining issues when it comes to, you know, there's a lot of things that need to be done, that need to be taken care of. So I'm just going to say it for the record. But oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Is this one of the new maps? Oh, it is. Okay. A lot of lobies, man. I'm a little scared. It's been a minute, so don't anticipate a lot. Such fast damage. Purple's nice and flanking. Good job. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Where's my team at, yo? Well, there's a problem within itself. Got to get together. What's the recap? Degen still doing a good amount of damage. So I really wanted to get on my Stam Sork. Irish, what's up? Definitely trying it out, man. Oh, backed. Trying to get, like, some momentum. Trying to get the feel for it again. It's been a minute. Here comes green in all its glory. Nice follow-up. See how they're sticking together? That's what you do. How's things been, brother? Really good. Really good. Thanks, man. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Actually, it's been going really well. We need to stick together. But everything's been going great. You know, my granddaughter was just born, so I was a little busy doing that kind of stuff, real life stuff. But, you know, other than that, actually, I have no complaints. Been actually a lot more happier. Can I fucking Sorks, man. Oh, snap. Congratulations. Yeah, definitely, brother. My third. It's my third grandchild. Flank. What? I can't get a push. I'm getting ramped. Green is just everywhere together. And you know what? I appreciate a team that does this. I don't like the map because of it. They're farming. Not a good thing to have a farm. They should have put the backdrop in here so people could kind of get out. See, this is why, like, this is really hard, because once you make a commitment to go one area, you're fucked in the other. All four staying together. Here's a flank, but they're going to get wiped out. Green's doing a good job just staying together. And that's all you need to do. And in a map like this, no offense, they should have put a hole here. Just on the drop back is what they should have done. But see, they didn't do that. So I'm actually going to give ZeniMax a negative on this map because of that. They didn't think. Too much. This map is awful. It's a ball group. AoE Paradise. Yeah, it's terrible. This map sucks. It's not the arena itself. It's the limitation of movement, and because of that, it's really bad. Had they, like, you know, opened up the back end and then just kind of, and there's so much Magicka. Yeah, it's just AoE, man. I'm watching your heal, but your health bar's not moving. Right. It's the delays, man. It's the heal over time. So everything's based on heal over time, and unfortunately for a Stam character, that's problematic. Ah, shit. That's going to cost me. You got to keep everything up, unfortunately, with Stam currently. Look at this. Amazing. See, they're chasing each other. They're following up. You can't hate this, man. Even if I get my team some lead. Look, I've got 10 deaths, man. Fire Drake's got one dropped. I'm trying to make openings, but it's just, Green's just doing such a really good job. Look, AoEs. Before you can even get down there, there's AoEs. Look. Yeah, same old, same old. That's some of the problems. Like, I could drop in an Atro here, which, to me it's kind of... Look, I'm still in combat, and I just died, and that needs to change in Battlegrounds, right? Where you're in combat because your team's in combat. That's another problem within itself. So, performance is good. I'll give it that. Performance has increased considerably. So, no problem with any of that aspect. Green did a good job. They just followed up with each other. Good strategic play. Once again, AoE is a little heavy. Degen looks pretty good still. I think maybe, it still needs curbed a little bit. Here's my opinion, honestly. Anything hitting over 5K is problematic in PvP. Especially in Battlegrounds. So if it's hitting over 5K, well, congratulations, you have a problem. Because it's not skill, it's based off of what? Just raw damage. And unless there's, once again, proper counter, which this game lacks and a lot of essence, you can't respond accordingly. So that's why you should have anything between, I would say, top end between 3.5 to 4. Why? Because people can recover. Right? Recovery becomes a really good strong point in PvP. It's reactive. But when you don't have reactive capabilities because of the raw damage output and, 5K is a quarter of your life, well, congratulations. More than likely, you're already at the disadvantage, and trying to recover from that is next to nil. So once again, I'm just going to state for the record that ZeniMax needs to appropriately adjust damage accordingly. So, but what do I know? I mean, man, some people could argue, Mystic, but it's relevant. It's apparent. Nobody can debate with me on these topics. It's like, if you want to debate, that's fine. I'm open to debate, but the problem of it is, let's take a look at the problems within themselves. We have ground effects that are what? Either slowing you down, dealing a stacked amount of damage, even if they're reducing the AoE damage and the dot damage, right? The stacked effect still plays a pivotal role in group play. So when you're actually seeing the amount of damage that's stacked on a field, what can you do? Because a lot of times in Battlegrounds, you can't curb around that. You have to either go through, you have to suck it up, heal, suck it up, and hope that you can get through it without detrimental of massively affecting your recovery point. This is why heavy armor is so massive. Heavy armor takes a lot of more blunt damage, right? Medium armor suffers in this. Like, the shuffle changes were good, right? I'm not saying that, they reduce, the fact that they reduced the AoE damage by shuffle was a bad thing. What I'm trying to say is that the heavy armor is still mitigating more than that capability. So what do you have? You have people stacking heavy armor. I'm in heavy armor as a stand player. Why? Because I'm not dumb enough to do medium armor with shuffle. I'm just not. I still say BGs should have no pre-made teams. You can play with friends in Cyrodiil or in pre-made BGs or a Scourge in ESO. Right, I agree with that. It kills any fun for solo queues, and where's the challenge for the pre-made team? There is none. But, in competitive play, it'd be one thing. If ZeniMax was having tournaments and there was constructed PvP battlegrounds. Unfortunately, there's no incentive to do such in this game. And the battleground system is actually a very pro element for this game itself. I think in essence it delivers what you want as far as a PvP peer. It gives you instant gratification to say, I only have an hour. What do I want to do? I can't really accomplish anything in Cyrodiil in an hour. But you can get a couple BGs in. But the problem of it is there's no incentive to do what? To PvP. So once again, most majority of the time, the peak time, it's like you said, you're bumping into a lot of pre-mates. And that's problematic. So I do agree with that. I totally do. But I just feel like ZeniMax is adjusting things accordingly. But once again, we have to incentivize and we have to understand the relative aspects when it comes to applying damage and its effects. Heavy armor also needs, the block also is still lacking a countermeasure. And I've always said this multiple times, use the bash system to do what? Stagger the opponent off of a block. If they were to do this, it'd be a boon to the counter play of the block game. But unfortunately, they still have yet to do these things. I'm not saying they won't, they're just not listening, or their time is, they're delegating time elsewhere. But yeah, this could be a great PvP game. It really could. It could be the best PvP game out of all of them, in my opinion. It could even be better than Fortnite. But Fortnite's very popular. But the problem of it is, why PvP when there's no incentive, there's no competitive element to the game? It's not lending itself appropriately. So it's been a minute, man. I just wanted to get on my Sorc. I'm actually happy with everything that's going on. And I like a lot of the changes. So I know a lot of people don't, but I do. I feel that there's been a lot of pros this update. Nice follow-up. Purple's doing a good job. Once again, it's all about trying to stay together. Magsork still doing really good for the pre-made team. Magsork's looking still really good. Actually, like I said, there's a couple of underlining issues that need to be adjusted, but it's getting a better. Is it enough to sway me back full time? I don't know, man. That's a big pill to swallow. So my ISP froze up, and now my entire game's froze. I think there's, there should be a reconnection. That's a, problem within, the server. Like once the ISP drops, there should be like, a time, an allotted time for elapsed, it was an ISP drop. What can I say? Spectrum. But now I'm froze. Now my game's completely froze. There's my log out, and there's my penalty. That's another thing that ZeniMax needs to address as well, because unfortunately, if you time out, you're sucking up the penalty. So yeah, ZeniMax needs to take a look at that. I can't PvP on him now, so I have to go on the Blade. So ZeniMax definitely needs to take a look at like the timeout scenario and understand ISP conflicts can arise and give it, a good, I'd say 45 to 60 second, or not 45, like a, I would say not 120 seconds, but probably like 85 seconds to be able to recuperate, you would think. But, it is what it is. No, I honestly think there's a lot of, like I said, pro elements going into this update. Is it perfect? No. It is not. It won't be. There's a lot of things that need to be associated to get where it needs to be. But it's a start. It's a start in the right direction. So, two elements that I'm going to, actually three. Let's put 3 stress points to the game. PvE. I feel the content's really good in this game. Majority of the PvE content is really well done. The problem of it is it's too one-directional now, given the facts of stat stacking, and there's nothing that makes me want to go try any of the new gear. It's like, what's the point? What's the point in acquiring any new sets when all it is just picking up perfected trial gear, perfected, weapon of any type, stacking those stats, and then putting your offset piece accordingly based on your class. What's the point? What's the difference? What's the changes? Where's the diversity? There is none. Diversity has been lost in this game when it comes to PvE. So they need to address that accordingly. Second point I would have to say is lack of PvP incentives. PvP gear is once again lackluster in comparison to its counterpart. So why associate it, right? Why do PvP if you're not acquiring anything of relevance? It's pointless. Why? Because it's fun. That's not enough to sustain the populace. So you need something to substantiate why players should PvP your game. So there's the second point. The third point is balancing according to the cap. Make a cap point for the damage output per ability and per effect. I'm not saying to homogenize the classes, so don't get me wrong. Homogenization is not what I'm indicating here. What I'm trying to say, what needs to be happen is a damage cap point per ability. So basically, let's take a look at, let's say, there's a dot ability on a blade and a dot ability on the DK. Now, what I'm saying is the DK has more dot effects, so it's more of a dot and class. So you adjust the base without the bonus prior. Okay, so imagine you're deducting the bonus associated with the DK. Take the bonuses associated with the Nightblade. Now what do? You balance that cap, even though they're two separate abilities, they're two different effects, right? You're now capping each of those abilities base, and now the player has to associate what? The passive damage for the increase based on class. So it doesn't homogenize the class, but it gives the class strengths and weaknesses according to the base of damage that's been adjusted accordingly. But once again, these things just kind of slip the minds of these developers. It's like, why would you increase a damage without a base? Without a point of reference? Why are you doing that? And that's the Achilles heel. That is the Achilles heel of this game. The Achilles heel is accordingly adjusting the classes. So once again, you get what? You get an imbalance, and it's always adjusted, nerf, adjust. Why? Because it comes back to that. It comes back to something very simplistic. But what would I know? Oh, that's right. I got 20 years in the industry, doing the private work for them as a tester. So what would I know? Pretty much just what I said. So, yeah, take it for what it's worth. Did it throw me out of queue? It did. But honestly, I do feel that there are a lot of pros with this update. Performance has never looked better. I mean, I'm looking at my stats. It has never looked better. So I do feel the updates, what they've done, has dramatically improved the stability of the game. So yeah, looks great. It looks amazing. EU players, I feel bad for them. They're always having to try to justify something or deal with something. And once again, I don't think it's the update. I don't think it's the devs that something got missed along the lines. I think it's the data center. I think there's something along the lines of the infrastructure of that specific data center. And that's evident now because why? We're seeing an increase in performance on US server. Now, once again, you have to go ahead and use deduction as a point of reason. So if the update went well for the US servers, why didn't it go well for the EU servers? Well, if everything's working accordingly in one aspect, that's to associate, okay, well, it's not anything in the software updates that cause the confrontation or the confliction. It has to be something on that specific site's infrastructure, whether it's software or hardware or how the data is actually being exchanged. So once again, I'm not there. I cannot go ahead and correspond this, but I'm using just reason of deduction to state that if software isn't the issue for the update, then it has to be somewhere down the hardware or performance in the data center itself. So yeah. Now, Blade, I feel Blade is kind of, it's okay. Was actually thinking about using one of these other effects. could go with the rapid fire. Might go do that really quick while I'm waiting. But yeah, let's see. You know, if the EU servers are, you know, let's hope. Let's hope that, you know, something gets done, something, you know, is, you know, picked up along the line. I don't know. But definitely. I just love the fact that, you know, this did work out. I'm happy about that, especially from my end, because a lot of times players were like, "Oh no, no Mystic, everything's running fine." You hear the White Knights being like, "Oh, ESO's running good, it's perfect." It's like, shut the fuck up. I have way more experience than most of you motherfuckers ever would, and if I'm telling you the fucking shit's running like shit, it's running like fucking shit. Like, you know, it's not about the ISP, you know, currently. Haven't played ESO for a month or so. The drastic changes every 3 months are just too much for me. Got me back into Stamsork just to kill it for me with Dragonhold, right? Well, and that's the thing too, right? There isn't no, the way the game should be going is mild adjustments and increase in performance and adjustments accordingly, not these drastic changes. But given the fact of where ESO was, I feel like they have no other way to go. Why? Because some of the foundation that one of the classes were set on didn't necessarily, wasn't cohesive. And now it's like it's a juggling act. It's like, oh, we just adjusted this, so now we got to go ahead and adjust that because we're trying to find our happy medium for everybody. And those are drastic in nature. It's not, you know, slight adjustments in the classes. It's literally saying, okay, this is fucked. We need to do something. Let's hit it with a giant fucking Nerf bat instead of, you know, addressing the other classes and trying to get those classes up to par. And it's like, no, it'd just be easier just to nerf one class and, you know, bring everybody up by a base. And that's not working, like across the board. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. It never does. So it's like you have to dissect the classes individually. You have to. There's no if, and, or but about it. You have to get with each other as a team. I can't understand how this game is 5 years old and now they want to mess with the class identity. After 5 years, class identity should be already established, right? But it's not. That's the problem, isn't it? One of the major problems of it is the class identity has lost itself along the way due to what? The first thing, the stamp, every one of the stamp, like I've never felt, unless I was playing a tank or a healer, I didn't feel the DPS was substantial. I don't feel class identity was relevant in DPS. Why? Because majority of the time the Magicka classes all have at least the same base set, right? And the same base abilities with one or two individual class abilities that gave maybe a unique twist to it. But pretty much the rotation remained the fucking same due to the what? The elite meta players dictating that this was the way that you were going to play your role in DPS. So was their class identity established all these years? No, absolutely not. Because everybody's using a destruction staff, they're going to slot the same destruction staff abilities to capitalize on their bonuses. Same thing with the Stam users. If Stam users are using 2H, they're going to go ahead and slot a 2H ability accordingly, or a dual wield, or a bow. There was no identity within the weapon system. Actually, the weapon system went against the class identity. So if people wanted to actually do something about class identity, what they should have done is literally made it more unique for each of the classes to have a spammable and, 2 or 3 slottable abilities that really did profoundly change the way those classes functioned in their role in DPS. But they didn't do that. Everything was still dramatically influenced by the weapon system of choice. Pinched. They're all dead. We got pinched. Yep. Glad to see shield stacking hasn't changed. You can at least always rely on that. The amount of healing is just stupid. Yeah, no CP, no joke, man. Oh! Just too much fucking healing, man. Can't kill him. Yeah. There, you know, like I said, there's going to be still needs issues. It still does. There's a lot of things that need to be done in the game. Can't say there isn't. Nice, nice, nice. They got me. Focus fired on me. What's up, Quid? Oh, you choking on these nuts? I gotta get the fuck out of this. Why can't we convert kills, man? There's another problem. Oren, what's up? Number 1 for my team. I'm slaughtering in damage. Red team just throwing out executes at full right. That's all they're doing. It's bullshit. Once again, I don't feel bad for Zoz. Like in this. These are the issues. I'm doing really good, brother. How are you? Second place, I think. What? Or third. Third place. And Sword and Board Madge Sork, geez, right. I'm sure they hire you in a heartbeat. I don't want to work for Zenimax. You know what? You're a funny troll, Quid. You know, I used to actually, do testing for Matt, right? I used to do testing for Mythic when Matt had it. So that's what I think about you. No, I'd go off. I'd have everybody's fucking asses on some stupid shit. Like, I'm not the nicest of people, especially when it comes to certain things. The performance is great. It's good. Performance is great. It is. I'll say that for the record. We'll do one more. I will say that the performance is really good. Unfortunate. Oh no, really? I never knew that. Please do tell more. Why should I? I just, dude. I've stated this multiple times, but let me go ahead and I'll do you a favor. There, you're permanently hidden from my channel. Anyways, no, I've done it. It's just been a long, 20 something years that I've had to, I started off just as a gamer, man, just like everybody else, I think. And, just moved from one avenue to another, and like alpha phases, got invited or whatever. And, longtime fan of, Dark Age of Camelot. I thought it was good. I got to test in Warhammer Online, and I called that shit. Like I said, the game fundamentally it had its pros, but unfortunately it was so heavy into the RVR that it wasn't appealing in a leveling perspective. It wasn't appealing, in PvE perspective. Everything was based on, focused into the PvP system. And I get it, it's Warhammer, I do get that, but it made it not, there was very little satisfaction when it came to, playing a character in Warhammer in comparison to other games. So if you're going to do something, you better make it, I mean, it was good, it just problematic. You looking at Camelot and Chained any? I've been trying to keep my eye open. I've been watching some of the developer streams, so I do tune into the developer streams. But it's a long process, and I'm kind of concerned with, it was supposed to be released this year, and it's not going to happen. And I think Mark, he's great. He's a legend. But once again, what's going to happen? What is going to happen? My main thing right now is in this market is everything that's going on currently, within each genre. So Destiny 2 just released for free. You still have to buy the expansions, but honestly, I think that's a concern for MMOs. I've always said, PlanetSide, I love PlanetSide 2, but it only had one avenue of opportunity. And then, but now you have Destiny, which has PvE, PvP. They separated from Activision Blizzard. And bastard. Where's my team? Anybody see my team? So I'm worried so many delays and date pushbacks, never a good sign. No, never. See, this is what people get for chasing the kills. Fuck chasing kills, man. You know what I do? I wait here so when that dude drops, I get it. We're about the dub, baby. It's gonna reset. It's gonna reset. It's gonna reset. Yep. Reset. Of course Red would get it. This is bullshit. Tell me we got it. We did. Go, motherfucker. Get the fuck down. Don't stand up there. You fuck dumb. Guy's permanently CC immune, right? What the fuck? I'm gonna fucking cry. No! Just keep me away from the fucking Templars. Get it! Oh my god! Fucking 9 kills, man. Seriously. Come on, yo. What the fuck? Telling you something's fishy about that player. Dude, something's fishy about the game, man. I can't blame a player for exploiting fucking broken features, man. I can't. That's one of the things, man. I mean, like I said, the game could be great, but certain things need to be addressed. It's just the way it is. ZeniMax has a long way to go, man. Why are we... I can't take all of that. Two fucking Templars too, man. Look at this. No. Look at the healing, though. Just a lot of damage mitigation. Something's weird. Look at this dude. Actually, I'm not home all day. So, there you have that one. We just keep getting rid of him. He's a warden. That's what's weird, right? Something was a little fishy. But without any further ado, like I said, man, I mean, here's the deal, man. I mean, and I'm just going to say this. The game's performance is amazing. So console players, I think you're going to have a really good time. If everything goes off without a hitch, it's going to be really good. He was using VOL though, right? Could be a set configuration, but honestly, you know, the amount of damage, like, I keep reintegrating the problem with heavy armor. Heavy armor is probably one of those. Block is something that needs to be taken a look at. Heavy armor actually needs adjusted accordingly. Right? There's supposed to be pros and cons. One of the negatives is heavy armor, unless you're using effects that reduce your speed. Heavy armor isn't hindered by speed unless it's applied. Chat with you later. Gotta focus here. Definitely, Oren. Thank you for stopping in. Heavy armor should have an applied effect to reduce speed. It shouldn't be as effective as it is. One of the things about tanks, typically if you're wearing a heavy armor and stuff, should be reduction of speed. There should be a negative association to that. Unfortunately, in this game, they didn't configure that when they put together the passives. They didn't think about just a natural negative associated. So a lot of players are just reaping the benefits without any negative side effects, unless there's effects, abilities, or a debuff that associates the movement penalty. So there's no natural movement penalty to the heavy armor. So what do you have? You have Stam Sorks running heavy. You have Wardens running heavy. Stam Wardens running heavy. You have Templars running heavy. You have Healers running heavy. Why? There's no penalization to it. Oh, dude, thank you, Irish. Thank you so much. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, there's no negative associated with the set. So what are they going to do? They're going to exploit it. It's going to be exploited until ZeniMax realizes that there has to be pros and cons to each armor type. Once again, we go back to paper, rock, scissors. Okay, so rock is solid, but it's slow. It's really it lacks. Add the negative effect to it. Why? People will stop finding it so appealing. Medium armor, got to head to a meeting. Have a good one. Thank you, man. Thank you for that donation. Thank you, man. So once again, medium should be speed, but lacking what? That capability of taking damage. It should be a little precarious when stamina makes a move. Mag is supposed to be light, a heavy damage dealer, but with what? Paper. It's supposed to be able to kill the rock, go over the rock, beat rock, and then what? Scissors supposed to cut through paper. So unfortunately, we don't have that in here. And I keep reintegrating paper, rock, scissors. Paper, rock, scissors. But they're never going to get it. And until they do, and how that's affected the armor type selection, heavy armor is here to stay until they do something about it for stand players and for tanks and now for healers. So the only people not running a heavy armor build, typically, not saying it can't be done, is light armor. So, yeah. Once again, man, got to make those adjustments. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for stopping in. Thank you so much. Once again, as always, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. And you, and you, and you, have a nice day.